What is up? I decided to post another video today to talk about my health journey, and I'm determined. I am really determined. I think I'm more than motivated. Motivation is fleeting. It's more so discipline. Yesterday, I did not want to do anything, but I did something, and I felt good that I did it. Today, felt much the same way. I woke up, first of all, I do sleep with a CPAP, and sometimes when I have the one that goes straight up to your nose, and sometimes what happens is it'll dry out like my throat. Pause. And so I can't sleep. It's literally, I'm just like thirsty trying to sleep, and so I was like, dude, all right, I just took it off, and it took me the longest to get out of bed. I woke up at like 7, and it's almost 11 o'clock now, and I'm finally getting up to do something. And I doom scrolled, and it wasn't even enjoyable. You know how much of a waste that is? To doom scroll and not enjoy anything? You're just watching dumb shit. And then I was like, dude, you know you want better than this. You know you want better. You gotta do something. You gotta do something. So the whole time, I was like, dude, I gotta get up and do something. All right. So this here is a good weight.
6 benefits that you can expect to see by doing consistent kettlebell swings. So with that being said, let's dive into it. First benefit of consistently swinging a kettlebell is that it builds full body power and strength. Now, if you think about this, if you're swinging this heavy weight, you're doing it over and over, it's going to develop some sort of power and strength, but the question is how much? So there was a study posted in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research that wanted to test the transference of kettlebell strength to actual strength, power, and endurance. And so in this study, participants were tested. They did swings, and then they were tested again over a period of time. And what they found was that there was an increase in their clean and jerk, and there was an increase in their bench press. And so through that study, the results found that kettlebell training can be effective as an alternative method to enhance strength and power during traditional weightlifting exercises. Along with that, there was a study done by ACE, which we'll discuss in a little bit, that found that core strength while doing the kettlebell swing increased by 70%, which is a massive, massive jump. That's one side of the coin, right? If you're swinging this heavy thing around, you're probably going to develop some sort of explosive power and strength. The other side, which is benefit number 2 of your cardio. Now, if you think about it, you're swinging it, which is the power, but you're doing it consistently for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, however long, and so you are going to develop some form of cardiovascular strength. And so there's an ACE study done that found that through swinging for about a 20-minute workout, the average participant burned approximately 20 calories per minute. Now, if you want to compare that to another exercise, that's about the same as running a 6-minute mile pace, or even cross-country skiing uphill at a fast pace. So if you look at that, that is an astounding result just from swinging a kettlebell, because first of all, most people can't run a 6-minute mile. Most people can't even run a 10-minute mile. But then second of all, in case anyone has any knee issues or joint issues, kettlebell swings help you avoid that, where running, you're kind of beating your body down. So whether you are in incredible shape or you are a complete beginner, if you find the right weight with the kettlebell and swing, you can get some of the same cardio benefits from the kettlebell swing. And so that kind of segues into benefit 3 from the kettlebell swing, which is basically helping with weight loss. So we can look at it from a calorie end. This is going to be much more effective at burning calories than a lot of other exercises. We can also look at it from a hormonal end, where kettlebell swing has been shown to have some pretty intense human growth hormone and testosterone changes. And so there's another study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning that also found that testosterone was significantly higher after doing kettlebell swings, and growth hormone was higher as well. And so when we look at this from a holistic lens, not only do you have the added calories burned that's going to aid with weight loss if you don't overeat, but you also have that hormonal changes that's going to allow you.
So I'm listening to the Huberman podcast. He has on your boy David Goggins, and Dr. Huberman was talking about there's a part of the brain that grows the more you do something you don't want to do. So basically embracing the suck. And I got that phrase from this book called Hell Week and Beyond. It is about the process of going through buds and that hell week. And it is an incredible book. I've been listening to it on my walks. So I've been having a lot of anxiety today because I'm about to do something I absolutely do not want to do. But I'm seeing that there's benefits to this. I'm going to see how long I can run. I'm going to try to run that trash can. I think it's a trash can right there. And I'm gonna try to run to that, and I'm gonna walk back. I might run back, I don't know, but we're gonna see.
Form of meditation. You get this deep focus and presence in the moment, and it's literally a moving meditation.
I like to think of running as a kind of moving mindfulness meditation.
This is achieved through optic flow, which is objects moving past you as you run, and it helps calm your mind and enhance concentration. And there's actually evidence that runners hold better attention. If you have ADHD, or really anyone in today's world probably has some attention problems, running is actually going to help solve this. You're going to be able to focus much better if you're someone who consistently runs. Another part of running that is commonly talked about is the runner's high. What you're experiencing with the runner's high is this release of endorphins, but also endocannabinoids. Think about the roots of that. Cannabinoid, cannabis, THC, mood elevator, and painkillers, and it makes you feel really good. Creates this sense of euphoria, promotes a sense of well-being. New runners always think they're going to reach this runner's high, and that's just not true.
That was what I was trying to get through. So, that pop you need from the calf, I'm trying to develop that. So, I still have, calves, but it's just not as strong as it used to be. If you can believe, I used to have a 37-inch vertical leap. Like, I'm a big dude, but I had some hops. I had some hops, man. And after that surgery, they fucked my shit up. I felt it was like a conspiracy. I was like, you motherfuckers, like, it's like my shit, that thing sucked. Man, that run sucked. I mean, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but like, when you run like this, it's like I'm carrying a weight on my right foot. If anybody knows anyone else who's dealt with, an extended Achilles due to surgery and has developed running, what does it take? I'm gonna keep doing this. I guess that's kind of what it is. You just keep doing it till you get better. I mean, it literally took my ability to run away. And so,
the runner's high doesn't really happen until you're about like an hour into a run. So until you reach higher volume, you really probably won't experience this. It's also a physiological adaptation that comes about later in your progression of running, maybe 3 months in or maybe 6 months in. So don't expect to experience this runner's high right away, but once you do, you're going to become addicted to running. Running also influences our neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. This regulates your mood, anxiety levels, so it's going to enhance your mood and your cognitive function. And this is something you'll probably experience actually right away. And it's also been shown that running will reduce your overall stress. I think a lot of people who do run will understand what I mean, that like sometimes you just feel you need to go for a run and you'll just feel so much better after. That's due to how it influences our neurotransmitters and our hormones like cortisol. Now, one of my favorite changes to the brain is brain-derived neurotropic factor. Think about BDNF as miracle grow for your brain. What BDNF does is neurogenesis and plasticity. So when you run, you stimulate the production of BDNF. It's a protein that supports growth and survival and differentiation of neurons in the brain. The BDNF enhances your neuroplasticity, crucial for learning, memory, cognitive flexibility, ultimately your decision-making process. You're also going to see hippocampal neurogenesis, which aids in your memory. This is going to improve your mindset, your memory, how smart you are. You're going to be a freaking genius. If you want to get the best brain possible, you need to do endurance sports, particularly running. Shows really good evidence. Increasing your plasticity, your neurobiology, it's going to change your brain. Running is also going to deliver more oxygen and nutrients to your brain. I know there was a lot of technical terms there, but to really summarize this, running is going to increase your focus, reduce your stress, and enhance your brain health and cognitive function. I also mentioned earlier the anterior midcingulate cortex. This is a part of the brain that is responsible for willpower, decision-making, emotional regulation, and cognitive control. When you think of anterior midcingulate cortex, you're going to think of people like David Goggins.
You show up and you bring your best self. 19.
me, son.
Yeah. 20, you got some more in you.
This is the part of the brain that gives you incredible drive, Listen to Andrew Huberman on this.
First point is that the anterior mid-cingulate cortex is in direct communication with all of the areas of the brain and through a couple of other stations, the body, that modulate our sense of tenacity and willpower, which we talked about earlier, the need for sleep, the need for pain or lack of pain, emotional comfort or discomfort to modulate our level of tenacity and willpower.
So less on the neurobiology thing and more from an anecdotal standpoint, when I was marathon training, when I was deep in the trenches, it was the most creative and sharpest and just overall probably best I've ever felt in my life. Now we could look at the physiology behind it and how it changes your brain, and that's exactly why I felt this way, but I had no idea at the time. I love this. I feel so good running. And I woke up every morning just pumped to go for a run. I'm not at that point yet because I haven't been back into running long enough. Now that I understand this, very excited to get to that point. But it really takes a lot of consistency. You have to do this daily for some time, and then you really start to reap the benefits of running. Now we're going to talk a bit about how running actually changes your body, your physiology. After that, we're going to talk about the tips and tools to get you started. There's actually a lot of crazy things that running does for you. It enhances your immunity, so you're going to get sick less often. It's been shown to reduce your all-cause mortality, all chronic diseases by 30%, and reduce your risk for cancer by 30%. I feel like that alone is enough evidence to just go run. Like, that's crazy. Do you understand the implications of that? It can reduce your risk for osteoporosis, or basically your bones like decaying and becoming old and fragile. There's a myth that like running damages your joints and stuff, but it actually improves your joints. You just got to be careful with your volume. You have to start low and steadily grow your volume over time so that you don't cause injury. Not to mention, just getting outside is something that we lack as humans at the moment. I feel like we don't get outside enough. So get outside and you get that vitamin D. There's also run clubs and great community within running right now. And humans need that. Let's break this down into a physical timeline. How is this going to change your body? The first week is probably going to suck. You're probably going to be like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? This freaking sucks. I hate this. You're not going to enjoy it. And you're not going to see many changes. Your heart rate's probably going to be extremely high when you're running. It's going to be hard for you. You're going to lack the willpower to get through it. It's a really important stage though. Now, once you're 1 month in, you're going to feel a lot better on your runs. Your heart rate might be a little bit lower. At this point, you might start looking forward to your runs. You'll probably have a change in energy, and you'll probably look a little different. You'll probably be just a little bit leaner, and your times will start to improve. But this is the point I think a lot of people start to quit. That first month, you're not going to see massive changes. You're going to see a few changes, but kind of like, why am I doing this? I'm barely seeing any results. I'm really telling you here, you need to stick through this point. You need to get through this point. Continue to be consistent. Once you get to 3 months, you're really going to start to see some more changes. At 3 months, you're going to feel a huge difference in your life. You're going to start to see how the discipline of running is going to, fall into other categories of your life. You're also going to have higher energy levels throughout the entire day. You might have somewhat formed this addiction to running, but once we get to 6 months, that's when you're really going to see the benefits. You're going to be running way faster times, and your heart rate's going to adapt a ton. And this is when I'm pretty positive you'll have that addiction to running, and you're probably going to be a lot leaner, and people are going to notice the difference in you, and they're going to notice like different vibes from you, different aura, higher vibration, higher elevated state. You're going to be just a better person to be around. People are going to notice that and probably tell you about it. Now, by 1 year, you're going to be completely unrecognizable. You're going to form this addiction, and you're probably not going to want to stop. You're going to look better, feel better. You got to stick it out. So one of my biggest drivers to getting back into running is actually VO2 max. This is the most important metric for longevity. It's essentially a measure of your aerobic fitness and how well your body can utilize oxygen. As this number goes up, it's the fitter you get, the more endurance you have. And it's the number one thing correlated with longevity and health span. Running, of course, is going to influence your resting heart rate. In medicine, we say a good resting heart rate is 60 to 100, but honestly, I think this number needs to change. A good resting heart rate is more in the 40s, 50s, maybe even high 30s though. And you'll see this in athletes all the time. Their heart rates are in 40s and 50s, but this is because they are fitter and in better shape. And if your heart rate is higher, it could mean that you're at risk for aerobic problems.
What was a typical resting heart rate?
Sub 60. That's a good number to go off of for anybody, regardless of age. Anytime I see somebody above that, I'm going to start asking questions. You'll see in the literature, people will say 60 to 80 is normal. I don't agree with that at all. If your resting heart rate is 75 beats per minute, there's either something going on or you're not fit.
What do these lower heart rates mean? Well, The demand for blood supply throughout your body at a resting state doesn't change. When your heart is better adapted, it more efficiently pumps blood throughout your body to get this oxygen around. So it doesn't need 80 beats per minute to get the oxygen because your heart is fitter, so it only needs like 40 beats. This is because of your stroke volume.